welcome. You are here with us, Mums at the Table, where we talk about all things parenthood. We do. Today coming up, we've got Gia in the kitchen. She is cooking with her kids. And we've got Colette. She'll be sitting down with Fiona to chat well-being. But today we're talking body image. And yes, it can be a little bit awkward. It can be a little bit fun. But when it comes to kids, when do you start talking about body boundaries?
Well, going from Dr. Patricia, who we've had on, and we just love
great.
Dr. Patricia. We've had her on a number of times in the past. She would tell you the sooner the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And starting with talking about body parts and calling them by their correct anatomical names. Yes.
Yeah, none of these pet names or
flowers
names
or whatever.
No, you call it by its real name.
It's a body part. It gets the same sort of, acknowledgement, arm, eye, vagina, you name it, you say it.
That's it.
Type thing. So what was what sort of started the boundary talk with you and your boys? And did you have to have that really early or not?
Look, I think it was just as the boys got old enough, like they started asking the questions, I waited for them to preempt it. Yeah, there was what's this and what's that and what does this do? And we would just have the conversations, not be scared of it, because I think some of the problems, and according to Patricia, some of the problems are that as parents, we're scared about talking to our kids about it. And why should we? It was God-given.
Yeah, that's right.
Get out there and talk about it with your kids.
Yeah, in times gone past, it sort of has been an awkward shush conversation type thing. But we are more open about that now, and there are actually lots of resources out there to help. Good, healthy ones on the internet. But there are books as well. I think Dr. Patricia's even written some books about that sort of thing, so that we can actually tap into help when we sort of get uncomfortable about that.
Because I know it can be uncomfortable. I know for me, my family, my parents were very uncomfortable talking to us girls about all of those things, whereas I sort of went the other way and went, no, I'm going to talk to the boys about it. I want them to know everything. I talk to them about girls' periods and all sorts of things.
I think that's a really healthy approach. But don't forget, there's always professional advice out there as well. We're not here on our own, and that's another opportunity. Ask how other parents have done this as well. I've had one mother come and say to me, make sure your girls are prepared before they need to be for their period at school. You don't want that sort of thing arriving then. So talk to friends, stretch out your network. They'll have great ideas there.
Hey, thanks for joining Colette and I for a chat. We're talking about active listening. We've been in situations where you're talking to someone and you just see their eyes kind of glaze off and wander off. But active listening is something that we should be practicing not only with our children, but with everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's such a good point, that eyes glaze. That is a good illustration of what active listening is not.
Right.
I think most of us are not great active listeners.
We've got so much in our minds.
Yes. Yeah, you're thinking about what you're going to say next, what advice you could give or what answer you have or the way the topic's going to change.
This is actually a really good tip and topic for me. So I'm going to be taking all this in. Yeah.
I think we often are distracted by our phones. When our children come in, we often think of our email that's pinged on our phone as really important compared to, say, even our teenagers' social media. And so we can justify why we're not actively listening with somebody. We're always having something important going on.
Right.
And so people don't feel heard. Our children don't feel heard. They don't feel like what they have to say really matters to you or that it's important to you. And there's something powerful about active listening, that it really creates connection. It really demonstrates empathy. I have to read one of Brené Brown's quotes. I love her stuff. And she says, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection. And so really what she's saying there is some of the things that we say to people, that's not what's going to matter or make them feel better. What's going to make them feel better is when they feel connected to us.
That's so true, because sometimes when you're talking to people, you feel like you have to have the right answer or help them or guide them or share your wisdom. But really, it's about connecting with that person. So how can we better connect?
So the connecting is, the listening bit is the main word there in the active listening. But when you're an active listener, really you're giving someone your full attention. So as a parent or a partner or a child to an elderly parent, you putting down what you have, putting your phones away, trying to get rid of distractions. Now, obviously, you can't do that every minute of the day. It's okay, parents, to sometimes be cooking or doing something else and say, we'll talk later.
Right.
But when you do talk later, it's putting things down. Then it's using phrases that are encouraging somebody to keep going. So even pauses or saying, could you tell me more? And then psychologists often get mocked a little bit in movies for this, but when you actually repeat back what somebody's saying.
So what I think you're saying is...
Exactly right. And it's not parroting, but it's rephrasing. And then the person feels, oh, they heard what I said.
Right.
So it's very powerful when you do that. And so there's lots of things as well. So giving feedback on what someone has said, even just validating their emotion or naming what you think their emotion might be. So I think what I'm hearing is you feeling sad about this. That just really reflects emotion. There's lots of methods, but it's just letting people feel heard.
Thank you so much, Colette, for those tips. I hope that helps you with active listening. Keep it locked right here and Mums at the Table.
So we're still continuing on the topic of body image, and being at school, it can actually be a really hard topic for young kids, and I feel like it is coming to our kids at a younger age. How do you approach that and deal with it with your kids?
Well, you've got girls, and girls can be really mean. I mean, women can be mean about women.
Yes.
So little girls can be really mean about little girls. How do you combat that? How do you talk to girls about body image?
I guess I just don't remember some of those issues coming until high school, whereas my girls are in primary school and it's well and truly happening. And I keep saying to myself, is it just younger or was I naive back then? But look, I know there's a girl in year 3 I walked past and she said to her friend, am I fat? And my heart broke because I thought, goodness, that's just not something that should be on your radar right now. Like right now, what should be, priority for you is being friends, having fun. Like, life should still be interesting.
So have any of your girls come home with those sorts of words or questions?
Yeah, I had my second daughter come home and say, Mum, does my bum look big in this? And I don't actually remember saying it, but I had to say, sweetheart, you don't have a bum. Like she's just this tiny little stick girl, but it's obviously on her radar. I think kids are talking about it at school from what I'm picking up. And I'm like, oh, heck, this is hard.
So how do you combat that? How do you build self-esteem in your child so that they don't have those sorts of words in their vocabulary?
Yeah, look, initially I thought, oh, that's ridiculous. We're not having that conversation now, but I don't think that helps.
No.
And I think so, acknowledging it and talking about it so it's not an uncomfortable topic. What I don't want them to do is not come to me about those sorts of things. So starting those conversations in a comfortable way. But what do you do? I feel like I'm combating media out there. I'm combating friends and other families and the messages they're giving their kids as well. So it's not an easy step.
Yeah.
What about with the boys? Did they ever face that?
Well, I think for my boys it was a little bit different because they weren't sporty and they weren't into all of those sorts of things. They were very social bunnies. So they didn't necessarily have that sort of problem at school. But I noticed recently that I've started to see some body image problems in that the boys are wanting to lift weights and do all those things because they're in their early 20s and the other guys are all at the gym and they're all doing those sorts of things now.
It really matters what we say to them and what they hear and the way we look and talk about our own bodies.
Yeah.
And I think subconsciously, I know I've forgotten about that and I've probably looked in the mirror too long or I've said something about, oh, this is too tight, it doesn't fit or whatever. But and they pick up on that.
Yeah, I think it's affirmation. You need to keep affirming them even when they're little all the way through into the older.
Yeah, I think what you say is absolutely right. It is really important that we invest in our kids that way.
Hi, today we're making sticky date pudding.
We are making a self-sourcing sticky date pudding. This is another Sanitarium special. Thank you, Sanitarium. And homemade. This is a healthier version of your usual sticky date pudding. It still has sugar in it, but because of these cold months, I always love when someone comes over and you want to make them a nice winter type dessert. When I think of a winter dessert, I think of sticky date pudding because it's so warm and you put a little bit of ice cream or cream on it and it's just delicious, isn't it? Basically, we've got the self-raising flour. So a wholemeal self-raising flour. So you got it there? Okay, can you put it down? We'll put brown sugar in it. So we've got the brown sugar. You want to put the brown sugar in that? Awesome. We've got cinnamon and salt. And we've just roughly chopped up some, what are these? These are another favourite of yours.
Dates.
Dates. So can you put the dates in there? See if they get stuck. Oh. Let me try and unstick them. There we go.
Hey,
Done.
that's my cooking.
So can you mix those together? Can you mix? Oh yeah, you've got your special mixing spoon there. And then you're going to add a little bit of almond milk so that you can just wet it enough. It's going to be like a bit of a dough rather than really wet. So let's put this through. You ready? Mix, 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 mix. Mix, mix, mix. Mix the last bit through. Now I'm going to use my hand as if I'm kneading bread. Okay, there we go. So that's what it's going to look like, the consistency. It doesn't look like a lot, but once it's raised. And we're going to put, don't forget, we're going to put the sauce on top, so we're going to even it out. I've just lightly oiled the dish, just so that it doesn't stick. So we need some boiling water for the sauce. Can you put the butter in there?
Bye.
Okay, well, ice a bit. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then we add some milk. That's just almond milk.
Milk.
Yep.
Oop.
And the sugar. So add the milk in. And then we just mix it until the butter's actually melted in there. We've just used like a Nuttalex seed, margarine, non-dairy butter. And can you add the sugar as well now?
Sugar, this one or
Yep.
that one?
And the cinnamon, there's some cinnamon in that too.
Cinnamon.
And the sugar?
And the sugar.
Yep. Good work, darling. Oh, you are just a professional. Okay, so now the sauce is ready, and we're just going to pour this sauce on top, the liquid on top of what looks like bread. That's it. So we've put it on top, and then we are going to put it in the oven for 25 minutes, and we'll be back to see what it looks like. It smells and looks amazing. Can I just say that you need to have a tray under it with some paper, because look, as you can see here, some of the sauce does overflow and come out. We left it in the oven for 25 minutes, that's all. 25 minutes and this beauty came out. Delicious pudding. And I'm gonna put a dollop of cream. You can use coconut cream, coconut yogurt, anything you like. Wow. Look at that. Hope you enjoy it. See you next time with some more recipe ideas.
Well, here's to loving our bodies and being comfortable in our own skin. That is it from us. We will see you next week. Bye.